And welcome to general session today, February 26th. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Boyce.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today we've got a number of guests joining us, and right now we're going to start with our Assistant Director of Economic Development, Alex Barris. Alex, come on up and introduce our esteemed guests, who all are welcome to come up.
Yes. Morning, Commissioners. Alex Barris, Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning. On behalf of Director Jim Schimmer, who couldn't be here today, I have the distinguished honor to introduce TS Tech USA, which is part of TS Tech Americas, located in Jefferson Township. The Economic Development and Planning Department, when it comes to business retention and expansion, that's kind of our bread and butter. And no more important bread than TS Tech. They are our largest private sector employer in the unincorporated areas, which is where we conduct our retention and expansion visits. They're also the third largest manufacturer in the 11 County Columbus 2020 region. They're great corporate partners of ours, always have been. Director Schimmer has worked on a number of tax incentives for expansions. What we're here for is kind of twofold, is that this is their 25th anniversary of operating in Franklin County, and it's really been just a tremendous success story. And then the second thing I think is really neat and something that I applaud them on is that we've worked with them over the years on some infrastructure issues this year, workforce issues with our Workforce Navigator, but we always celebrate companies that are expanding when they're receiving tax incentives. In December of last year, they had a 40-person expansion, no tax incentives, just working with us and in their own corporate office. And so I really applaud them. We have Jeff Daniels going to speak on behalf of TS Tech, but just want to say that they're a pleasure to work with and a great employer in town.
Thank you, and welcome.
Thank you very much. On behalf of TS Tech USA, we're very flattered to be invited today. As Alex said, we're in our 25th year. 1994, you helped us do a site search to come to Franklin County. We've been very successful with that as we've grown. In 1995, we started with 300 associates, and we're making about 400 car seats. Today, we employ 1,000 people at our one site. We produce about 2,000 cars a day, and this year we're approaching our 9 million seat. And all of that, a large part of it is the partnership we've had with the commissioners and the Economic Development and Planning Group that have helped us with multiple expansions and huge job growth. So thank you very much for that. We're honored to be here, and I will convey back to our associates today in the plant-wide the invite and the opportunity that you gave us to come here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And before you go away from the mic, could you talk just a bit about, you talk about TS Tech USA. Where is TS Tech originated from? And
yes,
that would be helpful for our guests. And
TS Tech, our mother company is TS Tech Japan. We are a Japanese affiliate company. The USA site that's out on East Broad Street, TS Tech globally has, 30, 40 different locations. The site at Reynoldsburg on East Broad Street is the largest global facility producing seats for TS Tech. Everything we produce goes, of course, to a customer in Union County. And we've been lucky that we've been able to have a good workforce coming out of Franklin County. We have people in our group that come from all different directions of Franklin County. And we've expanded 5 or 6 times over
Right.
the years. It's been a great thing, but yeah, we're a very diverse company and a very proud company. And one of our most important things in our philosophy is that we want to be a good corporate citizen, and that's what we've always tried to do. And that's our Japanese influence has always pushed us in that direction. So.
Well, we thank you for remaining within the county, for doing what you do. And we do have a ceremonial resolution. We'd like to get a photo with you.
Thank you very much.
And anybody with TS Tech? Alex, we'd like to get you in the photo.
There, perfect. I love bossing you around.
It's the only venue.
It's the only time I get. Okay, hold on, everybody. Alex, can you put in this bed? Thank you. I'll get a few. Thanks, everybody.
I've been. I have. In honor of Black History Month, we've had the privilege of hosting a number of friends, including today's special guest. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our local development director for the United Negro College Fund. Steve Miller has been a great friend of this community, and United Negro College Fund was founded in 1944, and the impact of what the fund does is tremendous. And Steve, if you would spend a few minutes talking at the microphone, if you could talk for a few minutes about what UNCF does and what you're doing locally, would be tremendous.
Well, Marilyn, thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank the County Commission and we really appreciate this opportunity to be here. The United Negro College Fund, first and foremost, our brand as a mine is a terrible thing to waste. We are a scholarship administration organization. We're celebrating our 75th year this year. We provided over $5 billion of financial services since our inception. $5 billion. We've touched over 500,000 students. And in the Columbus community, let me back up, in the Ohio community, last year we raised $1.6 million. And in Franklin County, we provided about $500,000 in scholarships to students in Central Ohio. Of 58 scholarships that we provided last year, 23 of those students went to Ohio State. So we want to educate and dispel the myths about UNCF, that the money stays with the student. Any student can apply that shows need and merit, and they can attend any school in the United States. But we, of course, support our 103 HBCUs and the 37 UNCF private schools. Historically, there were about 350 HBCUs, but now there's only 103. And of those 103 HBCUs that exist, 25% of all African Americans that hold a college degree attended an HBCU, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So the need is still great. The opportunity still exists. And based on others that were here this morning, UNCF is also a workforce pipeline opportunity. Most of the corporate partners that we speak with, we've had long-standing relationships with Honda, AEP, NiSource, Cardinal Health, and we offer other corporations the opportunity to support UNCF as well. But we have relationships with over 103 colleges. We provide a pipeline of diverse, college-educated students entering the workforce to help corporations, organizations be more diverse. They want to have diverse employees that represent the communities that they serve. So we really appreciate this opportunity to be here. Just going to run through a couple of quick slides.
Great,
Thank you very much.
perfect.
UNCF, as I mentioned, over $5 billion providing support for our 37 member institutions. We provide about 10,000 scholarships to students in over 900 universities. Started back in 1944 by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, and in that time we have grown to continue to provide scholarships, not just scholarships, but K through 12 advocacy and education to provide research and support for our students to be successful. Who we are and why we matter. We raise money to support student scholarships. It's imperative that we provide education opportunity for students to be successful in the future. Advocating has been a big part of what UNCF does, and the support that we have from Franklin County. We provide different workplace giving solutions similar to what United Way does, where employees can choose to make a donation to UNCF. We serve over almost 500,000 students who've received financial aid, 11 million in total scholarships awarded to students in the top 5 cities: New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. But here in the state of Ohio, $1.6 million, and in Columbus, as I mentioned, over $500,000. We provide these services all over the country. Of course, most of our HBCU schools are in the South, but students can attend any school they want to. Dr. Michael Lomax is our president. He's also on the board of KIP. I know many of you are familiar with KIP School here in Columbus, and Dr. Lomax will be here next month meeting with Abigail Wexner to extend our relationship with them nationally. That population, along with United Schools Network and other schools like St. Charles, and I'm a St. Charles graduate, we provide scholarships for minority students and other students, anybody that wants to go to and get through college. The important thing about UNCF is that we provide scholarship services for students that are leaving high school going to become freshmen, but also freshmen to become sophomores, sophomores to become juniors, and those juniors to engage in our internship program, which creates that workplace pipeline that creates opportunities for those companies. As companies invest in UNCF, they also want to invest in potential talent to come to their organization to work. So that is one of our big pushes. $50 million from STEM Scholars Program. We do have an innovation summit that we do out in Southern California that really connects our students with IT solutions and a lot of corporate partners. $35 million from the COPE Scholarship Program, and we received $600,000 from Kevin Hart. As I mentioned, we do workplace campaigns, and I'm here also to challenge Franklin County to continue their efforts. We've been very successful in another county in the state, and we hope that you guys will continue your efforts to raise money. We just had a very successful mayor's luncheon here in Columbus. It's one of the largest events that UNCF puts on nationally. We do about 70 of these all over the country. Just national support. If anybody remember the Lou Rawls Parade of Stars, we don't do that anymore. So, and that's very important because it was very successful, but the giving model has changed. So we do more workplace campaigns, but really more individual giving and corporate support solicitation, which really drives their interest in getting talent. Companies want talent. They want diverse talent. And we provide that talent with our relationship with our 103 schools. We also provide advocacy on Capitol Hill. On June the 8th, we're going to have our 6th annual mass ball here in Columbus, and we'll be honoring Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. So we do hope that you all will come out and support that. She's an amazing advocate for Central Ohio, and our nation. She's also a HBCU graduate. So there's all kind of talent that has come out of HBCUs. We want to continue to make sure that that happens. Forbes magazine, we're a national brand. Everybody knows us. We've just been very successful and want to continue to do that with your efforts and your support. Again, as I mentioned, over 20% of all African Americans that hold a college degree attended HBCU. And over 25% of those that hold a STEM-related degree, science, technology, energy, and math, attended an HBCU. So those organizations that are interested in technology, HBCUs are a great place to recruit, educate, and look for future talent. One of the things that we believe that's very important is economic impact. Just in the state of Ohio, with Central State University, everybody familiar with Central State? And Wilberforce University, which I'm a graduate of, both are HBCUs. Central State is a state school. They receive state and federal funds. Wilberforce is a private school. They don't receive state and federal funds. So the financial needs are very different. UNCF provides biannual stipends to support our 37 schools, which Wilberforce is one of. But the economic impact of Central State and Wilberforce in Ohio is over $127 million. And that's good for the state. That's jobs, that's lifetime earnings. And it's just very important that we continue to support these schools because it's good for our economy, it's good for our community, it's good for our country. Also, the Frederick D. Patterson Research Institute is an internal entity that provides technical research support for all the things that are related to education and why it's important. So we have recently released research and reports about African American youth perceptions, K-12 education, just better narratives about black education, because it's very important not just throwing money at scholarships, but really trying to make sure we're doing the right thing in the right way. Capacity building. UNCF is your partner to support educational initiatives moving forward. So we have a number of different vehicles. Based on national statistics, 6% of African American high school students that graduate are not ready for college. 58% who apply are admitted to college. The other thing that's unique about UNCF schools is that if you attend a UNCF school, you're twice as more likely to graduate from college than if you attended another school. Part of that is a cultural competency issue, size, family environment. So those things are very important. Plus, it's less expensive. We have a number of different national scholarship programs, as I mentioned. We have local scholarships. Any scholarship that is over $10,000 can be named. So in the future, I can foresee having the Kevin Boyce Scholarship. That's my frat brother, so I can.
My son already has the Kevin Boyce Scholarship. Trust me.
We have a number of programs, and one thing I want to mention is the Empower Me Tour is a kind of a mobile college fair that we take all over the country. Went to Cincinnati in the last 2 years, where we bring in 30 or 40 colleges that actively provide on-site application, on-site scholarship award, and we're also having on September the 28th of this year our Walk for Education in Wolf Park that we've done a number of years right across the street from St. Charles. This year we're going to have a college fair and a job fair. So Honda, AEP, and others are going to be providing their corporate people there, reviewing applications, resumes, and also we'll have colleges there talking to high school students. It's very important for them. 80% of supervisors agree that their UNCF intern was a good fit for their organization. 96% of those supervisors believe UNCF interns met or exceeded overall performance. As I mentioned earlier, the internship piece is really the driver behind the scholarship support. because corporations are interested in talented individuals with diverse backgrounds can help their organizations grow. We have leadership conferences. We just don't throw the kids out at the corporations. We provide training and education to help them be successful in that corporate setting. Advocacy. I can go on all day, but I don't want to do that. So there's a lot of good stuff here. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I want everybody to say with me, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you. Please don't go away.
Steve,
Steve,
hang
stay
on for a
here.
second. Let me just add to, I'm really glad, and first of all, let me say it's good to see you, my friend, and I'm so glad to have you here and doing the work that you do. Just a little side note, Steve used to work at St. Charles. He was one of the recruiters at St. Charles High School when my son was matriculating into high school, and actually worked very closely with my son. My son ended up going to Columbus Academy, of course, but Steve was one of those people that sort of helped me early on think about my son's future in terms of his academic level of gift that he had given. And I raise that because education is such a key component, and it's really a community process. And I wanted to thank you and recognize you publicly for that. The other thing I wanted to mention was that you mentioned Wilberforce University. And those who don't know, Ohio has a real rich history in terms of African Americans and education. Wilberforce University, in particular, of which I have an honorary doctorate degree from, Wilberforce University was the very first HBCU in the United States of America. And that is an implication of Ohio's legacy around educating African American students. Central State is, as Steve mentioned, one of the few state institutions in the country that is an HBCU. And that is a unique place. And so Ohio's history with educating African Americans, giving them opportunities, is rich. The final thing I'll say, many of you heard me talk about my own son. I think one of the greatest things about being an American is the idea that you can access a quality education, and it sort of helps to, they say a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's what education is. It's the rising tide. For myself, as first generation college, and then with the help of people like Steve and many people in this community, my son attends an Ivy League school, and I was first generation college, then the next generation is doing better, and that's the American dream. And so I think, and by the way, you were talking about the Kevin Boyce Scholarship Fund. I was actually looking at the qualifications for my son to apply to one of your scholarships, because we need the money and he needs the scholarship. But the point I make is that the work that you do, what you represent, is significant to the progress of everyone in Central Ohio. And so I want to encourage you. UNCF is a great organization. You're doing fabulous work in Central Ohio and Ohio. And Godspeed with Wilberforce as they overcome their challenges in Central State. But they're doing tremendous work as well. And so thank you for what you represent, and good luck. Godspeed to you.
Thank you. And we do want to get your picture.
Thank you.
And have a resolution for you.
All right. Gonna get a few here. Get one more. Thank you.
Before we get to our resolutions, we have one more special guest, and it is a great honor to recognize our guest, our former director of Job and Family Services here at the county, and a great community leader who's here for a different reason today. Doug Lumpkin and his family have been in this community, serving this community for decades. And his dad, Clarence Lumpkin, or known as the mayor of Linden, coined by our former mayor Coleman, served for so many years in this community, recently passed, and we are so sorry for the loss of your dad and all that he contributed. We're grateful that you're here today, and I know you've brought your niece. Please come on up, and if you would care to share anything about your dad, we'd be honored to hear that. We're thrilled you're here. It's good to see you, Doug.
Thank you, Commissioners. And let me first say it's just good to be here again. Obviously it brought back some memories, and so on a number of fronts, and a number of people in the room who I've had the pleasure and honor to work with. And so let me first say, on behalf of the family, thank you to the Commissioners for recognizing my dad. Thank you, County Administrator Wilson. We had an opportunity to speak, and so I'd first say thank you on behalf of your family. With respect to my dad, the things that I would say that I believe really speak to him, and some of the things that I tried to say on his behalf at his funeral, was simply that Dad was a cliche, and he was a cliche in a way that many people talk about today but really aren't. He was a cliche in the ways that he demonstrated character. He had character.
Yeah.
Dad wasn't being bought, or you couldn't pay him off. His relationship with the community was genuine, and that character of consistently being about that was there. Dad used to tell me there was a saying that about integrity, and your integrity will infect your destiny, and don't leave home without it. I believe my dad never left home without his integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It was always intact, and no matter what issue he was dealing with, no matter how much of a fighter he was, he approached it with that kind of character and integrity. And then finally, I would say my dad was authentic. We talk about him being about community. He was authentic. You know, I've told the story before. Dad was a witness in the Columbus desegregation case. And during that case, there were some documents that had gotten stolen within the community. And Dad had put out the word in the community to say, hey, these are important, and we need these documents back. And one of the best stories is, like, the next morning after that goes up, the documents show up on his front porch. Now, he did those things that they're not for him. They were for community, and so he was authentic. And so I say those things because we talk about him in the context of community, and he was about community. But it was bringing those traits to community consistently, repeatedly, regardless of what obstacles were there, that I think made it rich. And so I've said to my family, I say to you, I'm okay with working toward being a cliche if I can work toward it in the manner that my father was. And so I'm here to celebrate his life. I'm here to celebrate his accomplishments. I mentioned the desegregation case. The route the 670 takes today is by no accident. The kind of zoning that happens in the community up in the Linden area is by no accident. I had the opportunity to speak with the mayor, and I told the mayor a story about my dad later in life. as we were sitting and we're watching the newscast, and I think this kind of exemplifies my dad. We're sitting there and we're watching the newscast, and toward the end, my dad was at an assisted living facility. And as we're watching the newscast, they're talking about the revitalization of Linden and the dollars that are going to go into Linden. And my dad is sitting there, and he turns to me, because it's he and I, and he turns to me, and he says, Doug, get Andy on the phone. Get Andy on the phone. They don't know what they're doing up there in Linden. Get Andy on the phone. I want to talk to him. Call him up right now. His commitment to community and his concern over community never wavered. Never, ever wavered. And I also have to say, my niece is with me today. Actually, I'm going to give her an opportunity to say if she wants to say something. The other side of that coin that many didn't see is family and Dad's commitment to family. And we in the family, even with all the time that was spent in the community, knew of his commitment to family, the things he tried to instill in us within family, and the commitment of family to each other, which was the same type of commitment he showed to the community. So again, commissioners, I thank you for taking a moment. Anytime I have an opportunity to speak about him, I take it, because he was a cliche, but he was true, and he was authentic. And a lot of people talk it, but he wasn't. And for that, I'm only hoping that I can move in that kind of direction. Would you like to say something? With that, commissioners, we won't take any more of your time from your busy schedule.
Oh,
We are so
wanna take
appreciative.
more time.
I do want to do a quick plug, because we spent so much time on Wilberforce, as a former trustee of the Central State University. I got to plug Central State for some of the quality things that Cynthia Hammond is doing. President Hammond is down there at Central State doing. I had to give up that role for some of my state work, but it was something that I really enjoyed doing and having the opportunity to serve on the Central State Board, trustee board.
I'll just say that, President Hammond is a good friend of mine. When I was in the legislature, we developed a wonderful relationship and had the opportunity to work closely with her. But let me just say, too, I really would be remiss if I didn't recognize Mr. Lumpkin. I would never call him Clarence Lumpkin. He was Mr. Lumpkin to me. And when I first started off in politics, there were two gentlemen that were very much staples of Central Ohio in this community that really spent time with me. And there were a lot of people, a lot of politicians, Ray Miller, Charlita Tavares, go down the list. But there were two people who took me to lunch and took me and sat down with me and really sort of invested resource and time with me. One of them was Pete O'Grady, Commissioner O'Grady's father, and the other one was Mr. Lumpkin. And one of the things I remember him telling me was that, because I was raised in Linden, I was born and raised in Linden, and one of the things I remember him telling me, he made me one of the what do you call it when you're the grand marshal of the Linden Parade, and he said it's a unique honor to come from a community and to be given the privilege and responsibility of making that community better. And I just never forgot that. It's an ongoing work, but I will say this: we're all committed to that legacy. His legacy lives in you and your niece and your family. You all, in your own right, do things that have impacted this community. But there will never be another mayor of Linden. There will never be another Clarence Lumpkin. And the best that we can do with his legacy is continue to invest in public service as he did, as he would, and as he did up into his very last days. And so with that, we're honored to be a part of recognizing him. And in a very small way, this doesn't do anything in terms of the legacy he impacted, but that he had. But we hope this represents a small reflection of our gratitude for his impact with Franklin County. So,
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
We would like to get picture and present you this resolution.
That work?
Mr. Lumpkin. Mr. Lumpkin,
Yes, sir.
do you want another turn? That, Commissioners, Ken Wilson, County Administrator,
Yeah.
that was an inside joke.
I know.
When Mr. Lumpkin was Director of Job and Family Services, he had a habit during our senior staff meetings each Wednesday to need to go, can I come back? And we would give him that point of personal privilege because he usually had something of value to share most of the time.
Most of the time.
Seriously though, legacy is everything. Mr. Clarence Lumpkin clearly instilled that in Douglas, as his sister would call him. I know myself, we had a number of conversations, and the work we do, our tasks sometimes seem so large when we tackle issues such as poverty, when we talk about affordable housing, and we ask ourselves, you know, there's so much work to be done, there's so many people that need assistance. But when you talk about legacy and you talk about what's instilled in individuals, I just want to quickly share one of the conversations Doug and I had was regarding the ocean. And it talked about one of the lessons his dad told him about paraphrasing starfish and throwing them back in the water. And Doug said, that's the question. Why? There's so many here. We can't throw them all in. And his dad told him, it matters to the ones that you throw back in the water. And that's one of the things that y'all don't know if you know that I just recorded it that day. And there's a many days where I pull on quotes like that and lessons that we learn through the lives of others that we cross paths with. So I just want to let you know that your father's legacy touched those that wasn't born and raised in Linden, but through you and his family, his legacy will always live on. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We need the approval of minutes of January 29, February 5 general session, and minutes of February 21st, 2019 briefing.
So move.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
The minutes have been approved.
All right. Domestic Relations Court.
Resolution number 121-19, Resolution authorizing a contract for attendance services with Canal Winchester Schools in the amount of $6,694.60.
Good morning, Commissioners. Barb
morning.
Reeves, Deputy Director. With me this morning is Julie Troff, our Director of Programs and Services. This resolution is requesting the approval of a new contract with Canal Winchester that will provide attendance service.
Good morning. Just to give a brief overview of the program, the Truancy Intervention and Prevention Program reduces formal court filings related to truancy by partnering with local school districts to address those attendance barriers by providing resources and services to the youth and families that we're partnered with.
If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 121-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 121-19 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. The auditor.
Resolution number 122-19. Resolution authorizing an agreement with SafeChain for developing and adapting blockchain technology utilizing non-general funds in the amount of $48,236.44.
Good morning, Commissioners. Austin Chen, Chief Technology Compliance Officer from Auditor's Office. This resolution is to authorize the contract agreement with the SafeChain Company. Last summer, the Franklin County Auditor's Office worked with the SafeChain to utilize blockchain technology in the annual auditor's sales process. The contract agreement will allow SafeChain to maintain and enhance the system for future sales. In addition, SafeChain will create the software and data foundations for Franklin County blockchain parcel registry system. They will load the registry with a unique parcel in the system which will provide a simple, secure, and automatic process in annual auditor sales. I was advised by the senior leadership team that both current auditor and auditor-elect agreed to move forward with this direction by utilizing real estate fund. Pending any question, I would like to ask for your approval.
Thank you. If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 122-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 122-19 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The county engineer. And I know we have a public hearing to begin, and if you'd like to read that into the record, that would be great.
Public hearing, resolution regarding the final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of Roberts Road Shared Use Path, Norwich Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Cornell Robertson, Franklin County Engineer. With me today,
Carla Marable.
Commissioners, just a little bit about the project. This is a shared use path project in the northwest part of the county. It's a collaborative project including City of Columbus, City of Hilliard, and Franklin County. It will close a gap in pedestrian facilities between West Rock Drive and Mudsock Trail.
Okay, is there anyone here who would like to speak in this public hearing? All right, we will close. Excuse me. We opened the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak? All right, hearing there is no one, we will close the public hearing. And if you could read the resolution.
Resolution number 123-19, final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of Roberts Road Shared Use Path, Norwich Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
And Commissioners, simply this resolution will allow us to move forward with right-of-way acquisition if needed for the project.
Okay. If there are no further comments or questions, move for passage of resolution 123-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 123-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 124-19, construction of the Hayden Run Greenway Shared Use Path over Hayden Run in Franklin County declared necessary.
Commissioners, this is a similar project in the northwest part of the county, also a collaborative effort including City of Hilliard, City of Columbus, and Franklin County. It will also close the gap in a shared use path between Hilliard and City of Columbus. west and east of 270. The unincorporated portion is under 270. This resolution allows us to move forward with design of the project and will include a bridge over Hayden Run watercourse.
If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 124-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 124-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 125-19, establishing, altering, and widening of Morris Road at Babbitt Road, Plain Township, and Jefferson Township, Franklin County, Ohio, declared necessary.
Commissioners, this is a capital improvement project in the northeast part of the county at the intersection of Morris Road and Babbitt Road. This is the first resolution in a series of two to declare the project necessary.
If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 125-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 125-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 126-19, Moody Engineering LLC consulting engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer in providing engineering services, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $50,000.
This resolution is a design contract with Moody Engineering, excuse me. We would hope to utilize them with help on drainage improvement designs, and we use the qualifications-based selection process.
If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 126-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 126-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 127-19, resolution authorizing the Franklin County engineer to enter into a contract modification with Shelley and Sands Incorporated for the Smothers Road and Shot Road and Red Bank Road roundabout project, an increase in the amount of $90,589.66 for a revised contract amount of $1,840,828.29.
Commissioners, this next resolution seeks approval of a contract modification to Shelley and Sands. On May 8th of 2018, the board approved a resolution awarding the construction of the Smothers Road at Shot Road and Red Bank Road roundabout to Shelley and Sands. The contractor was asked to provide additional services as a result of the utility companies not relocating lines in a timely fashion. The additional cost would be reimbursed by the utility companies, and we request approval.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 127-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 127-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 128-19, resolution authorizing the Franklin County engineer to renew a contract with MP Dory Company for the 2019 Franklin County Traffic Signal Maintenance Program in the amount of $509,756.
Commissioners, on November 29th, 2016, the board approved a resolution authorizing awarding a contract to MP Dory Company for the 2017 Traffic Signal Maintenance Program. The contract allowed for two one-year extensions upon mutual agreement. This resolution represents the second extension of that contract. The terms and conditions remain as the original contract.
If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 128-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 128-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 129-19, preliminary allocation and final encumbrance of county motor vehicle license fee $5 funds for the city of Reynoldsburg in the amount of $450,000.
Commissioners, the City of Reynoldsburg has requested to use a portion of their county motor vehicle license fees for the improvement of Palmer Road between Graham Road and Ravine Way. The county engineer has reviewed the proposed use of the funds and determined that they meet the allowable usage.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 129-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 129-19 has been adopted.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Okay.
Board of Elections.
Resolution number 130-19, resolution authorizing a transfer of general fund appropriations in order to provide the budgetary allotment for meeting March payroll and other obligations.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Leonard, the Director of the Board of Elections. Again, we continue to work on the comprehensive advertising budget. Again, I think it's been informed to some extent by the recent certification of candidates and issues for the primary ballot, as well as some good conversations we've had with some of your staff. But in the meantime, we continue to work on our outreach efforts. We've been working with Director Bivens and her team at Franklin County's Job and Family Services to reach out to there and do some demonstrations for both their staff as well as for their customers. We've reached out to Jed Morrison and his team out at the Board of Developmental Disabilities, again, to reach out to the individuals that they serve and their families. We also reach out to libraries, any community group that's out there from across the spectrum. We've been working to again, reach out to them, and we've had some very successful initial events out in the communities that have been very well attended to introduce the new equipment to the public. We have our voting lab, which we have every Tuesday and Thursday, that's open to the public, and that they can come out and check out our new equipment. And then we continue with the implementation of the new equipment. We have completed all the acceptance testing of all the new voting equipment to make sure that it's working in the way that it's designed to do so. We're the first county, according to the Secretary of State's office, we're the first county to be accessing our state allocation of funds for the new voting equipment. And for Franklin County, that amounts to about $10.3 million that's going towards helping pay for the new equipment. And we are on target to implement the new equipment, so voters will be seeing it at the voting locations on the May 7th primary election day. So again, and the funds that are appropriated are for some of the standard activity that we've been doing through the course of the year, and then some of them are individually represent new expenditures for the month of March, but again, go towards helping us implement the new equipment and get ready for the primary.
Do you think this issue of communication plan implementation will be resolved soon?
Yes, that's what we're working towards. Again, we have a March 4th meeting that we anticipate we'll hopefully be able to resolve it before then. That's my goal, is to get that done. So again, we've been having some productive conversations on that path.
Okay.
If there are no further comments or questions, move for passage of 130-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce? Yes. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 130-19 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Office on Aging.
Resolution number 131-19. Resolution authorizing 2 grant agreements to provide intergenerational services for Franklin County Senior Options in the amount of $124,341.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michelle Missler, the Director of the Office on Aging. The Office on Aging presents this resolution authorizing 2 grant agreements for intergenerational services. The Office on Aging annually awards grant funds to nonprofit organizations in order to expand community services to the elderly population in Franklin County. Proposals being presented for approval via this resolution are from the National Church Residences Center for Senior Health and the Ohio Health Gerlach Center for Senior Health. These projects are aimed at enriching the lives of seniors via interaction with the younger generation. Intergenerational programs serve to better acquaint younger persons with those that are of advancing age. Activities range from music and movement with an intergenerational daycare center to having high school children teach older adults how to use technology. In order to highlight the great work of this funding, I would like to invite up Krista Spence from the Ohio Health Gerlach Center from Center for Senior Health to share a few words.
Great. Welcome. Good morning.
I just want to say, first of all, what a privilege it's been to be able to have the opportunity to use these funds that is really reaching out to so many people in Franklin County. I wrote down just a few stats, but during the 2018 year, we personally reached over 1,000 senior adults in Franklin County. We do multiple things with this grant money. One of the huge pieces is we do an aging simulation for kids all the way through elementary through college age, trying to teach them how to better understand the older adults in their lives, in their neighborhoods, in their communities, and hoping that they turn around and have more empathy and understanding for the aging population. For example, we even extended the program several years ago. We work with OSU pharmacy students who are in their 5th year, and they have to go through a whole aging simulation in their class, see how it makes them feel, and then they have to turn around and do do, I believe it's 8 volunteer hours in a senior living facility. We've seen great success with that. The people that they're asking, the senior adults, feel like they're more validated. They feel more comfortable asking questions about their meds, taking the extra time to make sure they are able to read the directions, things like that. And last year, we actually extended it. All residents at Grant and now at Riverside that have anything to do with geriatrics are now going through this program together so that they can be serving the older adults better in the hospital. Another piece that we do is we go into the community. Last year we reached over 800 students in community settings working with these senior adults. For example, we work with the PALS program with Southwestern City Schools. It's positive alternative learning. So it's students that are continuously in trouble through the Grove City Public School system. They are removed from their classroom and they meet at the YMCA in Urban Crest. I was just there last week. They have about 15 kids on the roster, middle school through high school. I started noticing last year when I would go in and meet and work with the kids on how to communicate better with their neighbors and their grandparents, all the senior adults, they would start to stop me and say, "What are those kids in there for?" So we've started every few months we have lunch together. The lunches have turned into an hour-and-a-half talk session. Some of the boys are interested in going into the military, so the older adults are able to say, "Hey, I served so many years," and it's just been a great relationship to have together. Total in all last year, we served over 1,200 students that worked with that over 1,000 senior adults in Franklin County. So that's kind of in a nutshell all the things, but we have so many programs that we do. One more example, we have with one of the schools, we do a blanket project. I kind of cut and prep like the fleece blankets that you can tie, and then the students ask their grandparents to come into the classroom, and we tie the blankets together, and then we take them down to the Ronald McDonald House. So I've gotten great feedback from that. The grandparents are able to go back into the school setting, see how things have changed. One time we did it over at Hastings Middle School, which used to be Upper Arlington High School, and the seniors wanted to find their pictures on the walls, and so it's just been a great way to use the money. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you so much.
This is great.
Thank you.
I think intergenerational programming is absolutely imperative as we help, this morning's conversation, resonates very clearly to me of how do we help the future generations and really understand what aging looks like. So I'm thankful for this support and this funding. Pending any questions, I would respectfully ask your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 131-19.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 131-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 132-19, resolution authorizing 9 grant agreements to provide outreach services for Franklin County Senior Options in the amount of $446,797.
The Office on Aging presents this resolution authorizing 9 grant agreements for outreach services on behalf of Franklin County Senior Options. Proposals being presented for approval via resolution today are from the Asian American Community Services, Central Community House of Columbus, Clintonville Beachwald Community Resources Center, Community Refugee and Immigration Services, Inc., Gladden Community House, Jewish Family Services, Legal Aid Society of Columbus, and Village Connections. These grantees target special population seniors in the community. Older adults that are served by these grant funds include those that are homebound, of very low income, refugees and immigrants, as well as those living in community together. Services provided through these grants are tailored to meet the unique needs, thus assisting them to live independently with an improved quality of life. These services are inclusive of group socialization, peer support groups, translation services, assessment and service linkage, and advocacy. In order to highlight the great work this funding affords, I would like to invite up Tamara Forrest, the Executive Director from Central Community House, to share a few words.
Great. Welcome. You can take that down.
I've been thinking about this since I walked in. I'm like, I'm going to turn that
I always am
down.
thinking about it, so.
I'm really humbled, honored, and thankful for the funding that we've had at Central Community House over the last year. I honestly don't think I could imagine Central without this program. It's so integral to the work we do. Because of the funding we received in 2018, We served 252 unduplicated seniors. 90% were connected to resources to address a basic need. For example, 72 referrals to a food pantry. We do a lot of outreach. Just to highlight some of the more successful outreach methods, we have gone out to 4 different senior centers and then provided on-site one-on-one conversations with those folks to get them connected to resources. We provide transportation at 6 different senior centers, to programs, to grocery stores, to things of that sort. At Central, Mondays are fun because that's when our Monday group comes. So we start the week really excited, energized with health and wellness activities, workshops, exercise, and it's really amazing. A lot of these folks also are in leadership committees at Central. They come to board meetings and they guide programming. Because of the funding, they're getting connected to resources they otherwise would not be able to connect to. And also, we're able to remove isolation. We're able to get people out of the house. Because of this funding, folks were able to go to 15 different events and field trips over the year. Just 2 examples include the African American Museum in Xenia. They also had an annual senior style show, an annual senior prom, which is amazing. Education workshops, which were really enlightening. 7 workshops over the year. Of course, the county led 2 around the opioid epidemic and housing crisis. And those not only were enlightening for the seniors and educational, they actually have guided programming for us and directions that we're taking in the strategic plan of our organization. The National Alliance on Mental Illness came out. They talked about mental health and trauma in seniors. This actually really resonated with our senior population. They asked for them to come back and do follow-ups and engage even more than they had initially. And in September and November, there was a chronic pain management workshop that 20 seniors participated in. As said previous, this is just a little bit of what this funding does, and we're so thankful.
Central Community House is a great partner, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
I just want to thank Tammy as well. We were able to go out, as she spoke, earlier, to do some outreach that we hadn't done before at Central Community House, and it has really it has enlightened our staff. It has the group of seniors that are out there are some of the most dynamic individuals, and they've been participatory in other things that we're doing, which is really, really amazing to see. So I just want to thank her for her leadership as well for all of this. Pending any questions, I respectfully ask your approval of this resolution.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions or comments, move for passage of 132-19.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Resolution number 132-19 has been adopted.
Thank you both. Have a great day.
Economic Development and Planning.
Resolution number 133-19. Resolution authorizing a career-oriented continuing education and placement training grant agreement with Per Scholars to provide workforce training and job placement as part of their commitment to expand their operations within Franklin County in the amount of $200,000.
Morning, Commissioners. Assistant Director Alex Paris, joined at the dais by our Workforce Navigator, Michael Salvador. We're extremely pleased to recommend to you what would be the second PeopleWorks contract that we've had with Per Scholars, and I'll let Michael go into a couple of the details of the change and even better terms.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. As Alex mentioned, this would be our first renewal under the PeopleWorks program of a Concept G grant. Good job on the acronym there. Sorry about that. As a little bit of background, so 5 years ago when you tasked the Economic Development Department of creating additional programs, especially with the idea of connecting low-income Franklin County residents with job and training opportunities, we created a suite of grant programs to identify businesses and vocational training organizations that could clearly demonstrate they could provide training and job opportunities to residents in need of these opportunities. And early on, we identified Per Scholars as an organization with the potential to be able to accomplish that mission in a greater way than what they'd been doing in the past. What I mean by that is, in 2016, when we awarded the grant to Per Scholars, the year before, 2015, they trained about 60 students in IT entry-level jobs. The end of the training program was a CompTIA A+ certification. And our grant would allow them to train, the task was to train 50 low-income residents every year for 3 years, 2016, 2017, 2018, as an inducement to expand their program. Train more students every year, get more students, more jobs, build closer relationships with local employers. And 3 years later, we're happy to report that they have done that. We're in the closeout period of their grant. We expect them to hit their total number. But more important than just the jobs created, it's the fact that our grant allowed them to expand even greater than we thought they would. Today, they not only trained 120 plus students last year, so they've doubled the number of students they train per year. But they also now, their training curriculum and their program's a little bit longer, and they train students for 2 certifications, an A+ certification and a Net Plus certification. Their expansion has been very impressive, and they're a great partner and have done a lot of great things for our residents. We would recommend 2 additional years of funding for this grantee because they have bigger and bolder plans for the next 2 years. And to speak to that a little bit more, we'd like to invite Tony Cunningham, the Executive Director of Perscalis Columbus, to detail the plans for the future.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Before I go any further, I just want to say thank you. The 2 most powerful words there are, because with your support, we have grown our organization's capacity by 57% since 2016, which is amazing for us. We are on track this year to serve 140 plus students. We actually do train in 2 certifications now, which are the A+ and the Network Plus, in addition to partnering with a local employer to look at a customized training opportunity to train individuals in a new credential that will have them wiring data centers and learning another side of technology for those individuals who want to work with their hands and want to be in the field. So we're really excited to grow. We have totally updated our site. We've opened 2 new classrooms, and we are preparing for 2020 and beyond already. I will say that we have consistently ran more than 80% placement rate. Within 2017, we had an 88% placement rate, and for 2018, we're on track to have an 84% placement rate. We take individuals from their average pre-training wage of $9,000 to $10,000 annually to $30,000 to $35,000 annually in a matter of 15 weeks. And so when you talk about doing transformational work and the ability that we have to do that with your support, those are the kinds of things that we do at Perscalis. And we look forward to continuing the partnership, growing the partnership, and figuring out other ways that we can engage and partner with Franklin County to alleviate poverty in this community. I will tell you that we look at individuals who are unemployed or underemployed, and have a high school diploma or GED, and we believe that we can take those skills and talents that are naturally innate in people, apply them to learning technology skills, and add them to the workforce where they can add value on day one. So we're just so excited to have this partnership with you all, and we just thank you so much for your confidence in us and your support of us over these last several years.
Tony, if somebody is interested in pursuing a career in technology, how would they get in touch with you at Perscalis or your team?
Sure. So we are a national organization based in Brooklyn, New York, but we have a site here in Columbus. We are right outside of downtown at 112 Jefferson Avenue at the corner of Long and Jefferson is where our training site is. All students or potential students start that process online by going online to our website and applying, and then they are invited in for the opportunity to learn everything they need to know about the training, as well as a few assessment tests so we can gauge where they are with reading and math and making sure that they can handle the curriculum. It is a very intense training program that's Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for either 10 or 15 weeks. So the individuals who come through that process, they are committed to their own success, and they've worked really, really hard, and they've done what it takes to be a part of this tech workforce. And so I would invite individuals to go to our website to learn more and to apply for the training.
So I guess my question, the first question is it Perscalis or Perscalis?
It's Perscalis.
Okay, then you guys are pronouncing
I
it
am.
wrong.
It's a Latin term for
Yeah.
through schools.
All right, that's important to know. It's like been the debate of the year.
I love it.
But I'll just say that, this is really one of those catalyst strategies for us. In Franklin County, the census projections have us at over 1 million additional people in the next 30 years. And what that implies is that we have to have a workforce that can accommodate the growth in technology and all of the other things that come with the type of growth that we're going to experience. And so I think the role that you're playing is really a catalyst role to prepare young people and people in this community for the jobs of the future. And that is, to me, this is a very small investment in a very big idea and a big strategy. And so I just want to recognize you for that work. I'm probably due a visit to the center and to see some of these talented, brilliant Central Ohioans growing and learning and whatnot, and just want to congratulate you on the placement rate, because that's critical, and as well as the growth rate. I think you said 57%, and that just shows you're making ground in an environment that's growing right around you. So thank you for what you represent and what you do.
Thank you so much.
I also want to say that, as far as our suite of programming and apprenticeship training that we're doing in the county, this is one facet of training that we're doing and that you provide that is growing, like the trades, and are building futures in the trades, and are building futures in healthcare and our community healthcare workers. It's one other great field for people to get into, and it's so wonderful that we have opportunities for people to be successful, and creating those pathways is so critical. And so grateful to you and to our teams, both in economic development and at JFS, who are helping to make these pathways work for people and allowing our residents to succeed.
Yeah, it's an honor to be a part of this work. Thank you.
One quick note, just to pick up on something Commissioner Boyce said. It's important to recognize that placement rate, Perscalis does not receive any grant funds until they achieve placement of an individual. So even though this is a grant, it is a pure pay-for-performance grant. And the investments that we make directly reimburse Perscalis for the successes that they've had.
So pending any questions, we ask your approval.
Move for passage of 133-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 133-19 has been adopted.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Child support enforcement.
Resolution number 134-19. Resolution authorizing a 4D contract with the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas Division of Domestic Relations and Juvenile Branch in the amount of $1,274,101.84.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Laura Cordero on behalf of the Franklin County Child Support Enforcement Agency. With me is Kimberly Collins. She's currently our establishment manager. We're doing a little bit of knowledge transfer here. This resolution authorizes our contract with the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas Division of Domestic Relations and Juvenile. It allows us to reimburse the court for the cost of 3 magistrates who are solely dedicated to providing services for child support issues, as well as our CSEA liaison's office, which our clients are free to use and find very helpful over at the court. They're embedded in court. It's really a unique kind of relationship. Many other counties don't have the resources to add these services, so that our clients don't end up overwhelming the court's resources for specifically child support functions. Pending any questions, I request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for passage of 134-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded in voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 134-19 has been adopted.
Thank you. Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 135-19, resolution authorizing a sub-grant award with the Franklin County Municipal Court Clerk's Office for updates to the court notification program through the FY 2018 Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $25,002.
Good morning, Commissioners. Melissa Pearson, Deputy Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. Take two. Melissa Pearson with the Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs. I am honored to be here in front of you today to talk about failure to appear rates. Unfortunately, in our Franklin County Municipal Court, on any given day, the failure to appear rate averages between about 19 and 33%. We know improving appearance rates will not only save us costs in terms of the issuance and serving of warrants for failure to appear, it will reduce our average daily jail population and probably most profoundly limit the systemic damage done to an individual and their family after an arrest happens. Elevating our current notification system to include text notification in addition to the existing capability of robocalling will significantly reduce the average failure to appear rate. And we know this because of other jurisdictions that have implemented similar systems throughout the country. We are requesting your approval of an award to the Franklin County Municipal Court Clerk's Office in the amount of $25,002 to purchase an upgraded system. Non-general funding from an FY 2018 Justice Assistance Grant will support this initiative. Pending any questions, we respectfully request your approval of this sub-grant award.
This makes a great deal of sense. Isn't Common Pleas doing this now? The clerk's office in Common Pleas doing this?
I'll be honest, Commissioners, I'm not sure. I know a lot of our...
I thought we were already doing this, so I'm thinking it's in one of the other...
We are. We actually are. We started with having some of our deputies that were on light duty actually making phone calls. We studied this, and this went on for several years. We studied it, and the impact was huge.
Okay.
So we have been doing this for a while. I can't speak to Common Pleas Court. I don't know that they have the same
Maybe I'm
failure
thinking
to
of the
appear
phone
rates.
calls, but text, I think, makes a great deal of sense.
Definitely. I mean, we get a text when we go to the doctor's office. We get a text when things happen in our children's schools. So it definitely makes sense, and we think it will have a huge impact. And we will be studying that very closely and reporting back to you.
Great. Thank you.
There are no further comments or questions. Move for passage of 135-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded in voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 135-19 has been adopted.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Community partnerships.
Resolution number 136-19, resolution authorizing a collaboration agreement with the Affordable Housing Trust for Columbus and Franklin County to support the production of affordable housing units in an amount of $3,400,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. This resolution, as the clerk said, will promote the production of affordable homes and rental units in and around employment centers. So if there are no questions, I would respectfully request the approval of this resolution.
Thank you, Dana. We do have a speaker on this resolution, Mark Fluharty, who is the Executive Director for Central Ohio Labor Council, requests to speak. Welcome again.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Thank you. I'll be brief. We all know that affordable housing is an issue in our community. Whether you look at the newspaper, on the television, or in your own local community. Many years ago, I started my advocacy for affordable housing with the trip to help feed at the YWCA homeless family shelter. And that drove a passion in me, as you see, labor, to be part of the community and try to address this issue. Whether it's poverty, wages, or affordable housing, it all affects families in our community. My ask is simple. We have a conveyance fee, and we are allowed to increase that, I believe, up to by $2. And I would ask that we could increase that to maximum amount, and then put that money toward affordable housing for our residents in our community. I think that roughly is around $6 million. It doesn't sound like a whole heck of a lot of money, but for somebody that can get into a home, that's a lifetime of money. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I one question to the director. So this is an annual amount that, while it comes through community partnership grants, it's actually where do these dollars come from? Because I feel like these are a little more unique than the rest of the community partnership grant fund. I just want to point that out.
Thank you, Commissioner Boyce. The funding for the Affordable Housing Trust is tied to the conveyance fee, the real estate conveyance fee. So we split that conveyance fee. We invest with the Community Shelter Board, and the other portion of the conveyance fee is spent with an investment with the Affordable Housing Trust. So we are looking at not just providing the housing, which is critically important, but providing emergency shelter with those conveyance fee fundings.
So I just want to be clear. So this is an annual amount. So is our budget director may chime in on this. This is an annual amount, and so I'm trying to make sure I understand. It's an annual amount that's dedicated, it's conveyance fee, and then there are additional funds that we put into affordable housing, or this is the 3.4 million is right now because it's based on volume of the
Yes.
Conveyance fee. So it could be more if there are more
That's
transfers, essentially.
Commissioner, the 3.4 million does represent one half of the permissive fee for Affordable Housing Trust. With regard to Community Shelter Board, in addition to the one half of the permissive fee, there have been additional general fund dollars provided. Originally, it was a couple years ago related to the implementation of their Navigator program of about 1.5 to 1.7 million per year, on top of the permissive conveyance fee collection.
Okay, that's important to recognize. And I just want to again make this comment. I feel like continue to do this, but I just want to do it because it's such an important conversation and a thoughtful conversation. But and I'm looking forward to my visit at Bread for further conversation. But there are so many conversations taking place right now where fees, taxes, and things are being talked about, being raised and generated. And I just want to continue to remind you there is a alternate side of raising fees and raising taxes. In the legislature, they're considering right now an 18-cent gas tax increase, and that's that would be referred to as a regressive tax. And it is important that as we consider these, we are thoughtful about the ultimate impact on families who need this resource the most. And so, again, I want to thank Mark, a long time no see, since yesterday, for his advocacy. He actually privately advocated for this with me as well. And so I appreciate his insight and foresight there. And I want to assure you that this is a very deep conversation that we're having, but most importantly, it is a community-wide conversation that is happening at the City of Columbus, is happening in the private sector, is happening in the county, because that's the way that's the only way it will work, is if there is a collective investment in affordable housing, which I agree with the concept, but I don't take raising any fees, any taxes, or any of those things lightly. And it's one of those things that we always have to be thoughtful about the other side of the effect of raising it, because like I said last time, when you raise those conveyance fee, if an investor comes and purchases a apartment complex or unit, they're generally going to transfer that cost back to the residents in the form of rent. And so it's actually going to raise the rent. And so we have to be thoughtful about our investment not having a counter effect on. And I just want to reiterate that as you all continue to reiterate that we should raise the conveyance fee, I want to reiterate we all have to be thoughtful about both sides of this conversation. And so I want to encourage that again and look forward to my visit and talking this through more.
Kevin, I think what you say is exactly on target, and it's the way our economic development team is looking at this issue as they're putting together their plan. They are being very thoughtful and deliberative in looking at every option that we have and every lever, and you'll get that briefing I just had yesterday on where they are at the moment, which is looking at all the different levers. I think what the Housing Trust does and has done for us has been very helpful, and I think, that will be integral to our conversations in general, and I think you're right on track with saying there are implications to everything we do, and I think we need to look hard at every option.
That being said, too, I completely agree. I want to be clear that, we have to figure out a response to the affordable housing need in Central Ohio, and we're all committed to
And
that.
it needs
trying
to be
figure it out.
comprehensive. I think the goal is to have a very holistic and comprehensive plan.
Strategy, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Thanks again for your advocacy. Thanks, Mark. Good to see you. If there are no further comments or questions, move for passage of 136-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 136-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 137-19. Resolution authorizing a one-year contract with the cancer support community of Central Ohio to provide support and education for individuals battling cancer and their families in the amount of $75,000.
Commissioners, this resolution will support the important work of the cancer support community of Central Ohio as they strive to stand with cancer patients and their caregivers to provide not only education, but support in determining the best route for treatment and helping them to relax with yoga classes and providing nutrition education in their wonderfully equipped kitchen. They provide all sorts of education to show caregivers this is the way to make the most healthful foods that you can that will help your family member, the entire family, be healthy as they move through these cancer treatments. So Cancer Support Community remains the only organization in Columbus that really provides the hands-on support and education for cancer patients and their families. The other cancer-serving organizations are also doing their part and doing an important role supporting research, but in terms of these are the questions you should ask your doctor, and this is the type of information that you need to know, and these are the latest treatments, and here's a counselor to listen as you talk through some of these issues. This is the organization that is meeting that need. So if there are no questions, I would respectfully request approval of this resolution.
Move for passage of 137-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 137-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 138-19. Resolution authorizing a one-year contract with the Columbus Public Health Department to provide tuberculosis education, prevention, and treatment for Franklin County residents in the amount of $2,332,852.
This resolution would support the work that the Columbus Health Department is doing on the county's behalf to provide tuberculosis treatment for active cases of TB as well as latent cases of tuberculosis. Some of the innovations that they've implemented are not just relying on the chest x-ray, but using the blood test, which is much more accurate, and the cost savings have been significant in terms of not having the false positives and not having unnecessary chest x-rays done. They also have employed the direct, you have to see someone taking their medication, and that can be very difficult as people work second and third shift jobs, the mileage that's involved in getting out to find people, and maybe someone's not home. So they're using video direct observation technology, which has really made a very big difference. So this allows someone who's taking their tuberculosis medication to take it on a schedule that makes sense for them. They can record it using a HIPAA-compliant app on their phone or mobile technology device. They record it. That time is recorded on the server. Then they can download that video, the health department can, and watch it and say, okay, well, this person, I can count all of the pills that they're supposed to have for this dosage. I can see where they took them. I've observed them taking every part of that dose, and that is a really great technology. Franklin County has one of the largest rates of tuberculosis in the state, and I think that's because we are a welcoming and open community. People come from all over the world to settle here because they know that this is a place where they will feel welcomed and valued, and often they are coming from parts of the world where tuberculosis is really running rampant. So
And they haven't had
the
immunizations.
yes, they
Yeah.
haven't had the opportunity to seek treatment, or perhaps they haven't had the opportunity. Maybe they had the opportunity to come here before they were able to complete their tuberculosis treatment. If you miss a dose, you go right back to the beginning, and you have to start over again.
Yeah.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, move for passage 138-19.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Resolution number 138-19 has been adopted. Resolution number 139-19, resolution authorizing a contract with Physicians Care Connection to provide comprehensive health care services to under and uninsured Franklin County residents in the amount of $300,000.
This resolution supports the work that Physicians Care Connection is doing in providing, they are the only specialty care clinic in Columbus. So people can go there and see a cardiologist, a gynecologist. They provide dental care, cleanings, extractions, as well as dentures. They're doing amazing work, and we're so fortunate to have this resource in the community. And they're not just providing a revolving door of emergency room type care. They see patients in the clinic. They connect them with a primary care home if they don't already have one. And I will say I'm so impressed by the work that they're doing in that dental clinic. When I went for my annual checkup at my dentist this past week, I made sure to ask all the dentists there if they participated and volunteered, and they were familiar with the work. So I would challenge everybody to see their personal physician as you see them, as you see your dentist. Ask them if they are making a commitment and making an investment in our community by volunteering their services, because they really are doing amazing work, and it is entirely staffed by volunteer nurses, translators, physicians, dentists. So I'm just remain impressed by the work that they do.
I am impressed as well, and thank you for asking for people to make
welcome.
that ask of their professionals, because I do it too.
That's great. That's great. So if there are no other questions, I would respectfully request the approval of this resolution.
Move for passage 139-19.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Resolution number 139-19 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Purchasing.
Resolution number 140-19, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $6,898,685.58.
Morning, Commissioners. Carl Cuthbert, Director of Purchasing.
Morning.
The resolution before you requests for approval of 130 purchase orders. For small emerging business enterprises included in this resolution are 18 eligible purchase orders. Eligible purchase orders are those in which small emerging business enterprises are likely to participate. 10 of these eligible purchase orders were awarded to small emerging businesses, which is 55.5% of eligible purchase order volume. The sum of these 10 purchase orders is $35,012.75, which is 65.9% of the eligible purchase order dollar value. These purchase orders have been pre-certified as availability funds by the county auditor. Pending any questions, I recommend their approval.
If there are no, I was looking at the detail here. If there are no comments or questions, move to passage 14-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 140-19 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Carl. Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 141-19, resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute agreement regarding the Ohio Opioid Education Alliance Agreement.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Schlerich with the Office of Management and Budget. This agreement would authorize the use of the county logo in the public service materials for the Denial Ohio Opioid Education Campaign operated by the Alliance. The 2019 budget included a contribution of $250,000 that was transferred to Adam H. for contribution for this effort. Pending any questions, would ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, you passed it. What number is it?
141.
Move for passage of 141-19.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Resolution number 141-19 has been adopted.
Thank you. Do we have any journalizations?
There are none today, Commissioner.
We are adjourned, and thank you, everybody.
Yeah,